Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Monday, the 18th of November. I'm Derek Clark, back in the hot seat after a few days off, and I'm joined by Stevie Clifford. How's it going, Stevie?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hope we're all well. Had to scrape the car this morning, Derek.
Oof.
So it's getting to that time, isn't it? So, yep, bright and breezy or something like that.
Yeah, of course, we're in. Are we now over the hump, or are we on the hump towards real football returning next weekend, of course, in the midst of the last international break of the calendar year? Hallelujah. So, yes, still plenty of things to discuss when it comes to all things Rangers. Connor Goldson was speaking over the weekend to the Sunday Mail, a number of talking points to delve through. So we'll discuss that to begin with. He says he's struggling to find Rangers leaders in the current dressing room, and he's defended James Tavernier as well. This is what he had to say, folks. I feel sorry for Tav now because he's going through a difficult period with the team, and he'll be the one who gets the most stick. Fair or unfair, that's what happens when you wear the armband. You're one of the main players, one of the biggest earners, so you have to take it. The stars of the team always face the most criticism, so Tav has to take that on his shoulders, as he does every year. Is it difficult for him? Mentally, it must be, because I've been there for 6 years. It's hard, but you have to take it, and Tav has learned to do that. The fact he carries on doing his best for the club, you can only admire that. If you look at the year we won the title in 2021, we had Alan McGregor, Stephen Davis, Jermaine Defoe, and others. That's not including myself and Tav. I look now, and you've probably got him, Jack Butland, and John Souttar. I'm struggling to find any more. Sometimes we had bad games, and those boys would tell us, if you let another one go in, Tav, I just don't know who in there. If you let another one go in, Tav, I just don't know who in there lets people know what Rangers is all about. It then goes on, references Celtic. It says, I don't see Celtic getting rid of Callum McGregor or Scott Brown before him when they had a bad few months. They understand these boys know the culture and drive the new signings to who they become. It'll only be when Tav leaves that he gets the respect he deserves. He's been absolutely amazing for Rangers. He plays every game, and you don't realise how hard that is to replace. When you do that, you'll take the most criticism because you're the player who will have the most bad games. If you play 60 games and have 5 bad ones, these 5 will be remembered. If you play 10 games and have 1 bad one, people think you're amazing. When you play every week, you're more prone to make mistakes. Everyone is human. Has Tav had bad games? Of course he has, but he's always there, available for every single game, even now. That's a massive credit to him. What he's done for that club is incredible. We'll touch on that, Stevie. I think that the big line I've seen creating a bit of social media debate over the weekend was the title winning 55, and he mentioned McGregor, Davis, Defoe, Goldson, and Tavernier. Now he says that you've got Butland, Tavernier, Souttar, and that's it in the dressing room. What do you make of that, and his comments on the leadership segment of that? Rangers lack leaders in that dressing room?
Yeah, I've got to be diplomatic, haven't I? And I'm not allowed to say that I don't really care what Connor Goldson has to say. Listen, I'm not even sure where to begin. Like, dressing rooms come to an end, Derek. Ours had come to an end. Al McGregor retired. Jermaine Defoe more or less retired. New leaders should emerge and things like that. If we've not recruited properly and things, then fine. But I don't know what, when he goes on about, Callum McGregor and Scott Brown and stuff, probably the difference between these boys and ours is that they've won an abundance of trophies. So, I don't understand that comparison either. So, Connor Goldson's been and gone at the club. I appreciate the 6 years that he gave us, but aside of that, Derek, I've not really got much interest in what he's got to say now. Of course, he's going to try and defend James Tavernier. I'm a wee bit bored of the Tavernier discussion. We seem to discuss it every single week. Yes, we've all got lots of respect for James Tavernier. Yes, he's done, fantastic service for the club, but doesn't stop what you're seeing on the pitch, which is we've
now.
both commented on it all season, haven't we? That not even all season, last season as well, that his performances haven't been up to scratch. So, it is what it is. And I saw Goldson had been interviewed in that, and I've got to be honest, I didn't really take much interest in it. It was always going to be the standard line, Tav deserves respect and all that, and yeah, he does. But you can respect somebody and be allowed to say his time at the club is coming to an end. So
yeah,
I didn't really get overly up nor down with regards to it, mate. I think it was just a kind of bog standard comment, etc. The leadership thing, again, neither here nor there. They have brought in quite a few signings, so it'll take a while for the dressing room and new people to emerge and things like that. So yeah, I mean it's a bit of a nothing comment. Everything's easy to jump on when you're not winning, Derek, and everything's easy to make a kind of mountain out of. But I didn't really think there was much to it at all.
There's other bits of that as well. Incidentally, those Aris are delighted with him at this moment in time. I speak to someone close there at the club and says his leadership skills, they're really pleased with how he's performing there at Cyprus. But he has said it was difficult to leave Rangers. He says he still feel I had a lot to give. Listen, I'm happy with this move. It's been great for me and my family and given us a great lifestyle. But do I think I could have contributed to Rangers this season? Of course I could have. That's why I was so disappointed. The club gave me a contract when I was at the best point in my career. But 2 years later, they didn't want to fulfill that contract anymore. Did I leave under a cloud? If I'm honest, I had felt that cloud from the end of last season. They told me they wanted me to leave. And I want to make this clear, that wasn't the manager. He was actually really good with me, but there were a lot of new people within the club who didn't know what I'd given for over 6 years. One said they wanted me to leave. At first I said, no, I wasn't going, but then it was probably my time. Listen, I have to respect the fact that the club didn't want me anymore, so I was happy to leave in the end, and I don't hold any hard feelings. There's more on that, folks, over on the website at this moment in time. Could he have contributed this season, Stevie? I think the time was right for him to leave. I also think the time was right for James Tavernier to leave in the summer. But what Connor says there, very honest, of course, whenever he spoke in the past at Rangers. Sometimes he was criticised for maybe being over honest. But could he have aided that defence this season, a defence that has looked very fragile at points?
Maybe, Derek. Maybe he could have. Could he have played much better than John Souttar is at this moment in time? I'm not sure. I think it's a toss of the coin between them. What I do know is that, Connor Goldson was massively out of form last season. He might talk about a couple of games, but he was miles away from where we all thought he should be. And I think with that said, it was probably the right time for him to move on, wasn't it? So, could he have contributed? People will say he would have been more value than Robin Propper, and they're probably correct in that because Propper hasn't found form yet. But he plays in the same position as John Souttar, and sooner or later we had to try and get the best out of John Souttar, didn't we? So it's one that we'll never know the answer to. I'm grateful for Connor Goldson, grateful for his service, but it was the right time as much as it was the right time for various others. So it's interesting he said somebody new coming in can only really mean Niels Coppin, in my opinion, because I was trying to think of who else it would be. If he's saying it's not the manager, is it then Coppin coming in and kind of making those decisions? It's interesting kind of conundrum if you wanted to look into that a wee bit further. But could he have contributed? Yeah, he probably could have. Could he have been a lot better if he had had 2 or 3 months rest and a good pre-season? Possibly. Could he have came back and been performing the exact same as last year where we all said he should be moved on? Possibly. You just don't know. So what I do know is that, like Borna, like John Lundstrom, it's probably for the best.
Yeah. lots of comments coming in agreeing with you, Stevie. Some saying that he could have contributed this season. But yeah, you can go and read those quotes over on the website, folks. But we will move on. Incidentally, if you want to get your questions in to myself and Stevie, please do so. And we'll get through as many as we possibly can. I'll address this first of all. Denzel, big friend of the show, says, did you eat the rancid shark, Derek? Of course, I was off in Iceland for a few days last week. No, I didn't eat the rancid shark, Denzel. I stayed well clear of that. Did manage to spew all over myself, incidentally, when we went out to catch some whales in the in the ocean above Iceland, which was probably the worst experience of my life. I popped an anti-sickness tablet when the shop opened prior to the setting off, but I think I spewed that up, and it was a horrendous 3 hours on choppy seas out there trying to find whales, which we've seen none of. So that was a horrible experience. Let us know, folks, in the comments if you had a horrible holiday experience. Let us know. But we'll move swiftly on to more Rangers news. And I wanted to touch on this, Stevie, because you were there yesterday, the Rangers women's team. A fantastic result for them. Scott Hammond with a point. Well done to the women's team. So the manager took it well, bringing the game into disrepute. A few interesting comments afterwards, but well done to Joe Potter and the women's team. A fantastic result against Celtic yesterday, Stevie. You were there. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. A lot of pressure on the women yesterday, actually, because there's been 3 games against bigger clubs this season. Hibs, they drew away 1 each. Glasgow City, they drew 1 each at Ibrox, and then Celtic, they drew 1 each at home as well, not Ibrox, but in Airdrie. So at Broadwood, and you know, there was questions asked. They were 2-0 up in that game, conceded 2 late goals, and then there was a lot of questions because it's difficult. See, when the men aren't playing well and the men aren't winning, everything at the football club is terrible, and you know, everybody should be binned and everybody should be out. And I've seen online comments talking about Joe Potter and Joe Potter's this and Joe Potter's that, and this team don't have it. And it probably comes on the back of what's going on with the men. But the truth is that the women's team have done fantastic. And there was a wee bit of a point to prove yesterday. Had they not have won, there would have been a lot of people saying that's them bottled another big game and stuff like that. So it was vital that they go and won, Derek, and they did, and they done it really well. And you know, there was a couple of funny moments when you talk about her getting sent off and things like that. It was very much like the penalty that she's going on about as well. It's very much one of those ones. I heard, you know, a referee described it to me yesterday as being one where had Celtic have got the free kick, nobody would have said anything. Rangers got the penalty, VAR's not overturning it. So it's one of those ones that are right on the line. She tries to get her body in the way as the Celtic player comes in, and they both kind of foul each other. So I don't think it was worthy of the overreaction that it got afterwards. And we were pitch side as we kind of spoke to the manager and Chelsea Cornet and things afterwards, and there was quite a lot of unhappiness. So that was quite amusing.
Yeah.
Aside of that, it was good. It was a good performance. So the girls deserved it. A really good team performance.
In terms of atmosphere, crowd, Stevie, was it pretty good?
Yeah, it was. I reckon probably a good 50-50 split. There was a lot of young kids there, which is brilliant to see. 2 young girls in the Rangers end with a microphone singing, you know, songs about Joe Potter and everything. Great to see. Really good atmosphere. You get the regulars that normally go along, you know, a lot of families and stuff like that. And you know what? It was a good atmosphere. It was nice to see. There's no animosity at these kind of things. So it was, you get the passion and you get the wee kind of singing sections and the drums and all that kind of stuff, which makes it good. But you know what? It's a really great atmosphere. It's a great occasion. And I would encourage people, if they're looking to try, you know, and get the youngsters along to games and try and give them their first experience, if they're looking to take them to see the first team and things like that in the future, then, you know, going to see the B team, going to see the women, and that is a really good place to start, Derek. So you'll get excitement. There's always lots of goals, always lots of big moments. And to be fair, some of the quality of the goals yesterday, Celtic Claire Noonan scored an excellent free kick. Chelsea scored at Cornet's winner was fantastic volley as well. So there's a lot of good football on display. And the women's game will continue to have its detractors and people that will kind of knock it. But, for those that go along to experience it and like the atmosphere and things like that, it's a cracking afternoon. So, well done to the team yesterday, done really well. That result, Derek, puts them 4 clear of Celtic. Yeah. It keeps them 3 clear of Hibs and Hearts, who are right in the race this season as well. And then it keeps them 1 behind Glasgow City, who are always there and thereabouts in the title run. So they'll have a big say again. So I think they've got Glasgow City in a couple of weeks at home. And then they do stop for a winter break, Derek. I think they've got a good 2 or 3 weeks off. So, yeah, really vital win, really big result. And it was a good experience.
Yep, sit 1 point behind Glasgow City at the top of the table. Rangers women 33 points to Glasgow City's 34. Hearts and Hibs snuck in behind, and then Celtic in 5th position. So, let's hope they can maintain that form and carry on, hopefully, and go on and win the title this season. But yes, certainly well done to the Rangers women team yesterday. World's greatest DJ on that says all the chat this morning should be about the women's team. A brilliant 3-2 win and an amazing winning goal. The off-field turmoil doesn't seem to affect Jo Potter and her players. Just on the issue of being sick on the sea, Rob Saab says, was seasick on the ferry going to Stornoway? It was horrendous. Yes, I feel for you, Rob. I spewed myself 3 times on that little Icelandic fishing boat. I still feel a bit nauseous thinking about it. Steve, you ever had any forgettable trips on the sea?
No, I can't say I have. I don't really get too bad travel sick, Derek, although I was extremely ill on kind of Thursday, Friday. You know yourself, I was due to be on here on Friday morning. I had to tell Joshua that I couldn't make it because I woke up during the night, the most horrible pain in the side, couldn't move, left me kind of breathless. It was like a stabbing pain, it turned out. I spent the morning and late afternoon at the REH, who took absolutely fantastic care of me. The staff and everything in there were exceptional, and a little bit of kidney stones, Derek, which is for anyone that had suffered from it. And I know Joshua said that he had them in the summertime and he found the pain unbearable as well. So I was quite relieved at that because, Derek, I didn't know if I was being a big wimp. The pain of these were just incredible. So uncomfortable, shooting pain. And it was a female doctor that said this pain for a man is as close to childbirth pain as a female experiences. So I don't know if that's right. And, what women go through is incredible. And I'll tell you something, I'm not built for that kind of pain, I tell you, because I was howling, Derek, in pain. It was not good. And I've been rough ever since. So it's just, I don't think people realize. I know that when I got the appendix done and all that, I was pretty sick during that. But your whole kind of getting up, sitting down, walking, everything is depending on your kind of middle area. And it's so rough. So not great, Derek. Not great. No, the funny thing was as well, she said to me, she says, your kidney levels and your liver levels are a wee bit high. You maybe need to stop the boozing. I was like, I don't drink. So that was quite amusing. I'm teetotal, thanks very much. But she says, it's not nothing to worry about. Just need to watch your boozing. Thanks. So with regards to sickness, not maybe much seasickness or travel sickness. I'm normally okay, but recently that's the kind of worst experience with sickness. You take your health for granted, don't you? You get up every day and just get on with it. But that was chronic last week, I tell you that.
Yeah, I feel your pain. It's good to hopefully you're now on at the mend. Kidney stones. I've never had kidney stones, I've got to say, but I've heard they're horrific. But let's move on from seasickness and kidney stones. Other news I've seen this morning. Now it's nothing new in a sense, Stevie. Lennon Miller, of course, he's a man in demand at Motherwell. Reports claim that The Steelmen looking for £4 million for him. Rangers and Celtic said to be keen on acquiring the Motherwell midfielder. 18 years of age. We've spoke about him at length on shows before. He's flourishing under Stuart Kettlewell. I think he's got a very bright future ahead of him. My concern is that maybe out of Rangers' price range, perhaps, and some wheeling and dealing will have to be done if Rangers want to acquire Lennon Miller. I wanted them to get him in the summer. It never materialised. I worry that the ship has sailed. Lennon Miller, Stevie, £4 million. Good value for you?
Well, we spoke about Lennon Miller for quite a bit, haven't we?
Yeah.
Same way as we spoke about it probably this time last year. We started going on about Connor Barron. We're speaking about Lennon Miller. We're speaking about, Derek Watt, the boy Watson at Kilmarnock. There's a few other out there that are kind of on the periphery of being decent. Lyle Cameron at Dundee, I think somebody that's still worthwhile looking at as well.
Yep.
So there is options in Scotland that I think would complement our squad. Lennon Miller at £4 million. It's all right to say that it's maybe ship sailed and we don't have that money. We do have that money, Derek. We spend that money all the time. We just don't spend it very well.
No.
And if we're allocating £4 million to Diamandi and Cortez and Danilo and Dessers and all sorts of £4 million players that we bought in recently, even as much as Bayrami on the last day of the transfer window, then we do have that money. It's about whether or not we're spending it well. And £4 million for Lennon Miller is absolutely fair, in my opinion. He would need to come in and make the same kind of impact on our team that a Kevin Thompson or a Scott Brown for £4 million made for them. We need to make sure that, if we're bringing him in, we're playing him in the right position and we're nourishing that talent. Because too many times, Derek, we come in and we bring players in, and don't want to be too critical and turn this into a bashing, but we brought Diamandi in, who was a young up-and-coming superstar, right? Who was getting all sorts of numbers and, box to box, like to dominate games, like to charge into the box, likes to use his pace and his power. And we're now sitting in November and everybody's saying we don't see it from Diamandi. And that's a big issue for me. Would we bring Lennon Miller in and then bring him down? We need to allow these guys to flourish. We need to make sure that when we bring in these sort of players, and I include Diamandi, Cortez and things, Bayrami in that we're allowing these kind of players to flourish. Otherwise, bringing Lennon Miller in would just be another talent that's wasted. So I'm all for spending money and getting these players in and making sure that we get the best young talent we can, but we need to find a way to make them flourish. And that's my kind of overriding worry regarding a signing like Lennon Miller, is that we wouldn't give him the kind of space to allow that to happen. Because let's look at it logically, Derek, in recent years we haven't been able to do that. Too many people come here and we don't bring them on and we don't flourish and we don't sell them on for big money and things like that. So yeah, would I take him? Absolutely. Would I be worried about what we do with him? A wee bit.
Yep, and there's a few comments coming in just off the back of that sort of echo about giving youngsters a chance. Jim with the point there. There's also our youngsters who are never given it a chance, and that ties in with Scott's point here. Why don't we just play Bailey Rice? We touched on this before I went off on holiday. Stevie has had some injury issues at Bailey, but it's inevitable that people look at the comparison between the pair of them coming through the youth ranks at Motherwell. One left to join Rangers at a very early age, and the other has overtaken Bailey, you could say, because he is getting regular first-team football. Bailey Rice is an interesting one. What do you see happening with regards to that? Is he going to make it at Rangers, do you reckon? What is it? It's hard to say. I mean, he's 17 now, 18? He's just turned 18, am I right in thinking? So he's a young lad, but we just simply haven't seen anywhere near as much of him as many would have liked.
No, we haven't. And do you know what, though? The caveat to all this is, and a wee bit of context, is that he's been injured for the best part of a year, and only in the last couple of months has he put together a string of, kind of uninjured months, so to speak. Zach Lovelace is the exact same.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for Philippe Clement because he spoke about Bailey Rice really early on. He spoke about him in the summer as he name-checked him as being one in the squad that was out injured and he can't count on him. I've got no doubts that there's a part for Bailey Rice to play. He's just never been fit. And this is the first time we've really spoke about him. And, in fairness, again, to Clement, in the last couple of weeks where he has been fit, he's been training with the first team and he's been moved round. He's been involved in first team squads. So, what we need to watch for doing it is, and I see it a lot with people, Finlay Curtis is one, and we've spoke about him as well, because he's getting big numbers and B team level and stuff like that. Then, the cries online are, go and start this boy immediately. And they come from guys that have never seen him. And we need to be a wee bit careful of doing that. And it suddenly then becomes, we never give youth a chance, but these are guys that are shouting at players they've never even seen.
Yeah.
So we need to be a wee bit careful of doing that. That's my only kind of little concern with that. But would I like to see Bailey Rice get game time? Absolutely. Would I like to see Finlay Curtis get on the bench and get on here and there? Would I like Zach Lovelace? Of course I would. And I would love that. And this is where I've spoke about it before, Derek. There's too many players in our team, like your Kieran Dowells and things like that, who, when we are at a stage where we are paying out too much money, which I think is fair, given the current kind of accounts recently, we need to have guys, if they're getting 20, 30 grand a week and taking up a space in our squad, they have to contribute. And I'm not sure that, controversially, your Matondo, Dowell, Hadji, Ridvan are all fit enough to be taking places up in our squad. So could we bring in youngsters on the bench, like Bailey Rice, Zach Lovelace and things like that? Could they be getting game time then? Yeah, certainly, I would hope so. But if anybody could tell me what games they could have come on in this year, then I'd be grateful to know, because more or less every game with the outlier being Ross County have been very close and been games that we needed to win. So it's difficult, Derek. It's easy to say, chuck the kids in. I understand that. And it's worked numerous places. I know that. I get it. I see the argument every day. I just don't think it's as easy as just saying, play Bailey Rice. There is factors to it. I would like to see him involved, absolutely. So a question that I would like to ask Philippe Clement actually is, is there game time on the horizon for these youngsters? So, but he said it himself. I challenged him a wee bit on Zach Lovelace, and he said, Zach Lovelace isn't capable of playing and being available for all these games. So that'll maybe give you a wee insight idea of what Clement thinks about these youngsters.
It's a worry. There's not enough coming through and really staking a claim in that first team and making a name for themselves. So it leads to many to question the academy and its purpose and its role at the club just now, and while the Rangers are getting bang for their buck.
What I would do, Derek, is, and sorry to kind of pipe in a wee bit, see if we're not going to be playing Lovelace and Rice and everything, then I would be speaking to clubs like Motherwell, and I would be speaking to your likes of your Falkirks and stuff like that, who are at the top of the championship, and saying to them, do you have space in your squad for somebody like this? Even, dare I say it, go to somebody like Dundee and say, look, we're interested in Lyle Cameron, we're interested in Lennon Miller at Motherwell. And when the time comes to selling these boys, we'd like to be involved in the conversation. In return, we've got these youngsters who I think could really flourish with some first-team football. We like the way you do things. They're available for you to have on 6-month loan. And it's what it saves us paying out, money for. And I don't want, and what I'm trying to ramble on and spit out, Derek, and I know I'm awkward half the time, and I feel like I'm awkward trying to explain this. I don't want another Leon King situation where he's now 22, 23, 24, and he's stagnating. Yeah. I want these boys to go out, experience first-team football, thrive. If we can't give them it ourselves, use other teams. Try and build your relationships with them so that when Lennon Miller does go, let's deal with Rangers because they gave us Bailey Rice for 6 months, etc., etc. Surely there's a way of doing business like that.
I agree. I think you're spot on there, Stevie. I don't know why the club don't do it, haven't done it, and don't do it. Certainly when January comes up, I would like to see the young lads, if they're not going to get ample game time at Rangers, then I would like to see them sent out on loan anywhere just to play regular first team football. It does them no good whatsoever for me, being in and around the B team, playing games every now and again, and not featuring against players that have win bonuses to play for and league positions to play for, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I would like to see a bit of movement with regards to that in January time. Just to touch on his childbirth, the same as kidney stones, A-Wings10 gets in touch on Instagram. She says, I had them, they're agony, not as bad as childbirth, though. So there you go, Stevie. Not as bad.
I'm a wee bit relieved, Derek, because I thought she was going to, you know what I mean? I thought there was going to be a Stevie's attic kind of thing. She says they're agony, but not as bad. Listen, I respect that. I don't think anything is quite as bad, and I've lots of, respect and love for the women that go through childbirth and all that. So I'm glad, Derek, I'm a wee bit relieved. I thought I was going to get it there, but I'm glad she said they're agony. They are absolutely torturous. So yes, wee bit relieved.
Bang on. Yep. Super stuff. Right. That'll do us there, folks. Thank you to Stevie as ever. And thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in to the show. Just a reminder, if you are a regular watcher of the show and all the other content on YouTube, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit it, hit the notification bell. You'll never miss a video when we go live. Right. We'll be back again tomorrow morning as we count down the days to Rangers returning to league action. But until tomorrow, enjoy your rest of your Monday. Bye for now.